This week on So You're a Fan, we investigate the Christians Against Loki Facebook group, discuss Army of the Dead, and, oh yeah, who are we? And much, much more. Hello everybody, and welcome to the So You're a Fan podcast. My name is Joseph Thomas, and with me is my co-host, Rose Bowman.
Hey guys!
Since this is our first episode, I thought that we would say who we are, kind of tell the story of how we met, but from like our own perspectives.
Would you like to go first, sir?
Yeah, okay. So I grew up in the Center Valley, Pennsylvania area and stayed in the same school district up until I graduated. I first met Rose when she walked into my freshman year English class. The teacher went to the front and said, "Hello, everyone. This is Rose." And what school did you come from? Was it Freedom or Liberty? I always forget because those
Freedom.
two words are.
It was Freedom.
It was Freedom because those two words are like synonyms, and they're both schools. It's a really good indicator of how white that little area is.
Nicki Minaj
said, "What country is freedom?"
And that was actually almost the whole school too. I like walked in because I'm not even that dark. But no. I was like the slightly darker person in the school, and everyone was like, "Can you speak like Spanish?" And like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "No, I can't speak Spanish, and I'm from California."
Can you speak any language that's not English?
No. I
don't know. How did we exactly become friends? Because I don't really remember like there being a middle period between when I first met you and like us being friends, because I remember the Rebels episode happened with Vader and Ahsoka.
Really? Freshman year?
I didn't realize it was that long ago up until now, just because I remember us talking about it in his room.
He was a weird man.
Yeah, he definitely was.
He's good now. He's married. He has a kid. Last I saw.
When'd you see that?
He had a kid, like a baby, our senior year. Because I saw him and his wife with their, they upgraded to the minivan, and I saw a car seat, and I was like, oh crap, look at that, he's got kids. He weirded me out, at least. You remember he used to play music during class, and he would play a lot of Nelly Furtado because he was obsessed with her, and he talked about it all the time. Do you remember that?
I pretty much blocked that man out of my memory, if I'm going to be honest.
See, I hold a grudge against him. Sorry, Mr. Because we had that prompt to write like a short story or whatever. In mine, he said I got my ideas from Twilight, and I got very offended because I had read, it was like a Red Riding Hood book, but they twisted it and made it really dark and scary, and I took that and wrote my story based off of that. It had nothing to do with Twilight, and I like the Twilight franchise, but not that much. I was like, don't you dare say that I used Twilight for this. And I kept correcting him, and he kept saying it. And eventually I just gave up, and I was like, yeah, I used Twilight as a reference. I was just so mad at him after that day. I did not want to be in his class anymore. And
then we were in the same AP class senior year.
And we were like the only people that actually like knew each other and were friends, like outside of the class, that like, at least for me, everyone else in the class, like I knew who they were, but I wasn't really close with any of them. And I saw you and I was like, oh shit.
Like we both don't remember anything from that class except just looking at memes. And it was AP Gov.
I don't know how I passed that. I spent so much time on my laptop. We made a Google Doc that I'm pretty sure still exists.
Oh God, I want to leave it behind then. I don't want to see
Do you remember that? It was like over several class periods that we spent doing this.
And what did we do on it? Was it just memes that we were putting?
No, there was a strip club in the small town that we lived in that had it had a weird nickname. Everyone called it the Shitty Titty because it wasn't the actual name of the place. Everyone just called it that.
Yeah, it was called Silhouettes.
And we took that and said, what if we owned it? And there's a whole Google Doc of the MC's introduction to like our main night with all of our I wouldn't even say girls, because 95% of them weren't even girls. They were just...
They're monstrosities. They weren't even human at that point.
I don't know how we thought of the stuff we did. Does it still exist? I think it does.
I'm gonna quickly check my old school account. I don't know how they didn't even delete it.
You found it, didn't you? You found it? Yes! I need to hear some of this again because it's been so long that I don't remember what we wrote, but I just know it exists.
All right, you ready for this high-class radio drama? Afterwards, when I'm like editing this, I'm gonna have to like put over like club music or something.
Oh my god, that would be glorious.
Welcome to the Shitty Titty. My name is DJ Nippy Brick.
Oh my god,
We got some fine honeys tonight. The only rule at the Shitty Titty is that there ain't no safe word.
Oh god.
The first one I remember, I stole it from a podcast I was listening to at the time, so here it is.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I did. Versus stage's Carol at the ripe age of 87 years old. She loves singing songs about Christmas. She can shove a whole Christmas tree up her pussy. 7 out of 10, rent, don't buy. Next we have Chillery Hilton. She loves chillin'. Lets her husband get blowjobs from randos. Native to Cedar Rapids.
I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids.
Oh my god, this is awesome.
Our Lord and Savior, Ted the Zodiac Cruz.
I didn't remember adding that in. Oh my god.
I don't remember any. It was the last time it was updated was December. Come on. Last it was updated was December 14th, 2018.
Wow.
Hannah Quinn owns a pharmacy, demands extra for lap dances, loves when you say nickels.
Is YouTube gonna allow this? I don't know.
I'm probably gonna have to cut a lot of this up, honestly.
What were we on?
I was undiagnosed with ADHD, I don't know about you. Following up is Nancy. She loves riding horses but can't ride dick. But that's never stopped her from trying. She enjoys horses kicking her in the pussy and could ruin your life. Skeet yourself before you yeet yourself. I feel like I'm doing a really bad impression of the number 15 Burger King foot lettuce guy.
Yeah, that's what I keep thinking.
Burger King foot lettuce.
My throat hurts. I don't know if I want to keep going.
You don't have to.
I might have to cut all this out, but
I don't think any of that's usable, but it's still good to read that again. And
it's nice to visit that old grave. And then we graduated, and then we hadn't seen each other since up until last week over Zoom.
That whole time, we kind of just sent each other memes. Anything new, like Marvel or Star Wars, we would complain to each other about. And it was right after we said like a funny joke to each other, and we were like, "Oh, that's fucking," and I laughed for like a while. And I was like, you know what? We're too selfish keeping this shit in Instagram DM. We gotta do something with this. We gotta make like a podcast or a YouTube. And then you were like, oh yeah, actually. And I was like, oh, for real?
Rose, do you want to give your side of the story then?
Unlike Joseph here, who never left the Center Valley area his entire fucking life. I grew up in several places actually. We moved around so much as a kid, so I never actually stayed at one school for more than like maybe a year until I got to Pennsylvania. You know, I liked being able to make friends and actually stay with them for more than a year and not leave. We were actually going to, but I convinced my parents not to because I really liked Southern Lehigh. The first lunch I had there, I made friends with Beak and I went to go sit with him for lunch because I didn't know anyone else. He sat at a table that was all guys. Some idiot. And if he ever sees this video, he knows who he is. He was sitting on the opposite side of the table from me.
Parker?
No, it wasn't Parker. Parker liked me because I liked the Chargers. He laughed with the guys that were sitting next to him, and he says, "This is a whites only table," and that I couldn't sit there. And I looked at Beak, and I was like, "Oh, is he? Are you for reals? Did he just say that to me right now?" It's gonna be a problem for a very long time if you say anything to me, especially because I was new. And I was being really defensive because I didn't really know anyone yet. So from what I knew at that point, I was the only brown kid at that school. Oh my God, I can't remember who it was. Whatever I said scared him enough that he never walked on the same side of the hallway as I did. It was a great introduction to a new school and a new area. Can't remember his name right now. I'm not going to say it. Anyway, this is going on YouTube.
So I'm probably going to end up censoring names anyways. When did you start becoming like really a nerd? I was always kind of into weird things that other people weren't really into. Uh, I was definitely like,
Unless you like feet.
had iPads been around in the early 2000s, I would have grown up to be an iPad kid. I was definitely like an inside TV kid, so I spent a lot of time like watching Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. And I think that's how I found Star Wars for the first time, because that was 2008, I think, or 2007 when the Clone Wars started.
2008 sounds right.
Don't remember how often I would watch it, but I remember watching the last episode of season 1 where Cad Bane took the senators hostage. I remember like being confused and kind of upset, was like, why would the season end with the bad guy getting away, you know?
That sucks.
I must have like been talking about it with my mom or something, and then she borrowed the original trilogy on VHS. The VHS tape of A New Hope wasn't rewound all the way, and so when my mom first pressed play, the first image that came on screen was a C-3PO, just a zoomed in shot of his face during the Sandcrawler scene when they're being sold to the Lars family.
Okay.
And I just remember my eyes lighting up. I was like, whoa, what's that? Like, and that was basically my nerd origin story. What about you?
I grew up, like, my dad is like a huge gamer. He has 2 full bookshelves of just video games from every console we've ever had. He still has the Nintendo 64 and the GameCube. And so I grew up with video games. And my dad is a huge Star Wars fan, just like I am. So I got it from him. And before Clone Wars came out, I don't know if you saw those movies that are on Disney Plus now. Oh God, I can't think of the names.
Yeah, they're just called Clone Wars. I never saw them until a few weeks ago.
I saw both. There was also the Ewok ones that are on there as well.
Oh yeah.
Those are like the earliest things I can remember watching of Star Wars, and I really liked them. I didn't know that Clone Wars existed until a few seasons in, but my dad bought me like the disc set for however many seasons had been out by then, and I kind of binge watched them all. And it spiraled from there. My 8th birthday party, I'll have to show you the pictures, was Star Wars themed. I was Ahsoka, full costume, full posing and everything in these pictures. I'm dead serious.
How did that work out? Like, did you get a specific Ahsoka costume with like the headpiece?
It was whatever Spirit Halloween or whatever company had a costume out at the time. But look at the headpiece.
Yeah, I was about to ask, in your memory, does it look a lot better than it does in photos?
Yes, 100%. And it felt different too. There was like a foam in there, so it's not flat like it looks like in the pictures. It was actually slightly rounded. It's just the angle of the pictures makes it look a little flat. Wow, those poses, man, I was tearing it up. Oh God, one of the things I got for that birthday was a giant Jacob Black poster for Twilight. Oh no.
I didn't base it off Twilight.
One of the things I got, it was a Yoda beanie, and I still have this somewhere.
Oh, you look prepared to walk into a suicide forest.
Oh God. Was that what he was wearing?
I think so.
Oh God.
What, you never stand next to a dead guy?
Oh no, you're good. It wasn't Yoda. It was the alien from Toy Story.
Oh, good. Still, don't associate.
Yeah, you're safe.
My head fit just inside it enough that I could bring the face down so it covered my face. So I walked around on my knees talking like Yoda for like 3 hours. I really like the Mortal Kombat franchise. I don't know much about it, but I grew up playing the games.
Oh,
and so,
wow.
Yeah, little, like 5-year-old me did have a controller and was doing fatalities, but I only ever played as like Kitana or Melina. I only switched between the two. I never actually played as anyone else until I got older. But I was big video game, and then it got into Star Wars.
My sister had a Nintendo 64, and so I spent a lot of time playing that in a PlayStation 2 that we had. I'm really not into Nintendo, but I have a lot of memories of playing like the original Super Mario N64 game. Actually, the video I'm working on right now on my other channel, 9 Novembers, with Natalie, has like some Mario 64 sound effects in it.
Oh, nice. Good plug.
Well then, do you want to talk about Christians against Loki?
All over TikTok, all over Instagram, people have been talking about the Christians against Loki Facebook group, and it's we're not entirely sure it's an actual group or not, and we'll explain that in a little bit. But basically, this group is horrified at Disney for putting this show out. They want to boycott Disney and Disney Plus. They think he's like associated with the devil, comparing that the horns or whatever. And they're like panicking about it. And it has like what, 12?
I think 12.2 thousand members.
12.2 thousand members. We have infiltrated. We are inside.
We have exposed the Christians against Loki series.
We're a little concerned about the authenticity.
If we're gonna have hate groups, I want the hate groups to be real.
Yeah, like this would be genuinely amusing if I knew 100% it was real or not. But my thing is the admins, and you can see the first name that is there is Wade Wilson. Little sus, little weird.
That's a big red flag.
Big red flag.
I joined yesterday, and since it's a private group, you have to answer specific questions that they have. Let's see if I can find my files here. So are you boycotting the Loki series? And it's either yes or no. I hit yes. Then the first type-in question is, tell me your feelings towards Disney. And so I wrote, greedy, unpatriotic, leftist agenda crap.
And then the last question is the one that I kind of stared at for a few minutes, and I was like, what is this supposed to mean?
Yeah, so if you're here, HEAR from TikTok, say in all caps, I, EYE, Marie, MARI, Chung. I am Marie Chung. I was Google searching this, being like, what does this even mean? And I found a Reddit. It's supposed to be explaining memes. And there was a post saying, what does I, Marie Chung mean? And the answer was, it just means nothing. There's no actual meaning for it. And so it says, if you're here from TikTok, say I, Marie Chung. And I just wrote, I'm not sure what this means. And I hit send.
I will note that I did try to get into this group. Forgot that I had put something Loki related on my story, and then was not accepted to the group because of that.
I checked back in an hour, and they accepted me. I was like, wow, that was fast. And then I sent you screenshots, and you're like, the admin, his name is Wade Wilson. So I checked out Wade Wilson's page. And so the profile picture is this old bald man with the words Wade Wilson, as seen on TV, is my homie, wrapped around him. I don't know what any of that means. He made a post on June 17th saying, welcome, my fellow followers of Christ. God has once again set us on a task to remove smut from our children's watching. Not only is Loki glamorizing false prophets by glamorizing the North religion, he will also be, quote, gender fluid. Disney has been leading the charge with liberal propaganda, and we cannot allow them to continue. We will boycott this show as well as Disney Plus and all their shows. A little bit about Wade Wilson. It says, I like to talk about the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I was like, either this is amazing satire that someone is doing, or this is an actual insane person. I scrolled down. On January 10th of this year, Wade Wilson posted a photoshopped image of Homelander, but instead of Homelander's head, it's Donald Trump. And that escalated my like mixed feelings even more, because Rose, have you watched The Boys on Amazon?
I haven't, but I've seen all the memes and I know about it.
Homelander is not someone who anyone should be glamorizing. He's a homicidal maniac who would commit genocide. He is physically capable to commit genocide, and he would if he believes that like he could get away with it without anyone stopping him. I started checking out the other admins. This one named Rosie Flowers. On June 22nd, Rosie posted, please unfollow TikTok. People are sharing false information. Please pray with me.
They make it seem like it's such a horrible thing.
There's a lot of postings in that chat that have like hashtag WAP. And I eventually found a recent post that was posted on June 27th saying, quick note for all the idiots. WAP means wet ass pussy, not worship and prayer. Think of that when you comment. It's so mixed. It's like, could this actually be real? Or is it all just a meme? And it's really hard to tell sometimes.
It's a very well orchestrated meme, if it is.
Someone named Bushy Bennett, who looks to be a middle-aged woman. Bushy posted, "My daughter called her rescue dog Loki. Is she going to hell? Is the dog going to hell? I thought all dogs went to heaven." And then there are a bunch of pictures of this dog. I'll send you one.
Oh God, what? Now, the stuff like that makes me, like, it could be 100% a joke.
It could be 100% a joke, but
then also there are people that that could be very real.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go definitely this is all fake. I'm looking at Bushy's profile right now. Bushy's first and only post was yesterday.
Very well orchestrated. I'm gonna say
that well orchestrated meme.
More than half of it is probably fake, but then there are people who actually joined that 100% support that.
And they joined out of fear. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're these people that are making this meme, they're just going along with it. Oh, you can't tell me that dog is gonna go to hell. Look at that bean, so cute.
Who told my father what WAP means? He's been crying in the AARP bathroom for at least 20 minutes now.
Okay, yeah, I wanted so desperately for this account. Like, I bet at the beginning it was pretty real, and that everyone who was in it was 100% with that cause. But now that it's hit like TikTok and Instagram, all of these fans that have found it and are like, oh, we're gonna go in and troll these people, I think it just adds to it and it just fuels the chaos. And I think it's 100% something that Loki himself would be for, like, and support and do himself anyway. And it just makes me laugh. It's so funny that people actually have very strong feelings about it.
I just saw that there was an article. I didn't read it. I'm looking at it now. On a website called god.daily.com. And it's a religious podcast. They seem to think that the group is real.
Oh.
Here is a post that they included in it. These libtards are ruining our Christian ethos by promoting Satanism. #WAP. And they seem to be reporting that the Facebook group is real. I don't know if they caught on that it's all making fun of them yet.
That's funny.
A few commenters have commented that the page is parody, but it's set to private now. It also seems like their numbers have risen past 10,000, and there appear to be many sincere people in there who are really angry that Loki, and also a little sexually confused by their attraction for him. Might be worth just reading some comments. Okay, so they are not sure if it's parody or not. Going deep into research for 45 minutes, I think it's safe to say it's not real.
No.
Here's a good one from an hour ago by Darlene Banks. Darlene writes, "I woke up at 8 a.m. and it was already 80 degrees. This must be a sign that the Loki series makes God angry."
I like that one. That one's good.
All right, are you ready to move on then?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So I was going back and forth on what I wanted to call this. And so I thought about the Theory Trade Federation. Little wordy, or what do you think?
A little wordy, but I think it'll catch.
So we get to come up with or share theories. We can come up with them or we can find them.
Mm-hmm.
And we present the other person with the evidence that we have to support it.
Yes.
And then after the other person says whether they buy into it or they pass on it, then we say our own feelings on it. And yes. So these theories can be about any movie or show on any franchise, or it doesn't even have to be a part of a franchise at all. It can be its own thing. We get to say, do we take it? Do we accept it? Or do we just pass? Every time that we make a prediction or make a theory that we think is true, it will be saved, and then eventually find out the answers to it. Then we will see who got what right. And so right now we both start at 0. And every time we get one theory right, it goes up a number. But every time we get one wrong, it goes down. But you can't get negative. You don't go below 0.
Okay, with Loki, or like even like, let's just go back to like WandaVision. I had a new theory at the end of every episode, and not even half were right most of the time. So Yeah, definitely don't go into the negatives because we would screw ourselves over big time if we did that.
I'll do an example one because I already know your feelings on it. Omega is force sensitive.
It didn't really like set in until maybe the second or third episode. The things that we saw from like Anakin, like he learns things very quickly, he catches on very quickly, and that's something we've been seeing like crazy with Omega. Is she knows everyone immediately. She can figure out what they're there for, or like what their purpose is, or who they are. I don't think it's gonna end well per se for that, because when does it ever go right for force sensitive people? It's a theory that I like 100% support.
I'm starting to think no. I think it's all supposed to be a big misdirect. With movies and shows, they don't just show us stuff for no reason.
Right.
They showed Kanan and Depa Billaba during Order 66. Because I don't think they would show that to us just because it's the same character. It is going to be a little fan servicey. I just don't think they would waste resources on that specifically. Why not just create a whole new character and have that youngling survive? Which is why I thought they would do that to establish in series what happened to the Jedi and their younglings, where yes, they killed all the Jedi, but clones wouldn't hold back to kill the children as well.
And I think it's not just Jedi, because if you say Jedi, that's a specific term.
Force users in general.
So Force users in general, which broadens it a little bit.
Next theory. In the series, Boba Fett is going to show up. And my evidence to support why I would think this is because his code name was Alpha, to parallel with Omega, with her code name. I think Boba is going to show up, especially since now we have Fennec Shand showing up.
We had Shand and Bane both come in to try and get her back from two different parties. Both of them failed. And I think Boba is going to be like a last stand, bring her home type deal. And that's where we're going to see him again.
I always forget the name of the actual city, but the Camino cloning facility. Do you think it's going to be destroyed?
I think so. I think it might be the Bad Batch themselves doing it, trying to save Omega. I think that's probably going to be what it is, that she ends up back there and they destroy it, trying to escape with her.
I hadn't thought of that one. That's also a good guess as to how that could happen. I think Boba Fett is going to show up, and I think he is going to be there when it all comes down. The ultimate end to like the story that we were first introduced to in Attack of the Clones. It's like Boba Fett's full childhood cycle before turning into the bounty hunter that we know he becomes. During the Clone Wars, he's like 13 years old or so, and even there still, he's like already pretty radical. Now here's the second part. Do you think Omega is going to be in the book of Boba Fett? Off camera, we talked about like, why is Omega blonde? Like where is that blondness coming from? And we talked about maybe it's not actually Jango DNA, it's actually like Palpatine or Anakin or Shmi or just something. But I found out that in Legends, Jango Fett had a sister, and that sister had about shoulder-length blonde hair. And also Jango's mother also had the same exact kind of hair that Omega has.
And this is in Legends?
This is in a Legends comic where these images come from. Jango's parents, I guess, were killed during one of the Mandalorian civil wars. Jango was taken in by the Mandalorian side of the cause, while Jango's sister, her name is Arla. The story of Arla Fett is that while Jango was taken in as a foundling, Arla was taken by the Death Watch and radicalized. About 10 years or so before the Clone Wars started, she was taken prisoner by the Republic and remained there up until Order 66, where she was freed. There's very little material or information on her. This is what I'm saying is literally all that there is. And she spent out the rest of her days living with a batch of Jango clones, much like how Omega is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because that also explains, why Rex had blonde hair. It was just like a possible gene that was in there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there was another clone that had blonde hair too, but I can't remember who it was. That's interesting. I mean, I just saw the picture of their mom, and that is like,
yeah, you see what I mean.
Same hair. I mean, we know that Sir Dave is like amazing when it comes to like Star Wars lore and
Dave Filoni.
Yeah, like
Sir Dave.
Sir Dave. He takes everything. Like he takes in a lot for this, and he has so much information like behind the scenes that I wouldn't doubt that he found this and was like, oh, actually, that's not a bad idea. I'd like used it for this. I can say that's a big maybe. Omega is an original character from one of the animated shows from Star Wars. And we only just recently got Ahsoka, what, a year ago? Not even. And I mean, I think that would be cool. I'm going to say probably not. I don't think it's going to go that far. I'm going to say no to that one. I think it might be a little bit of a stretch just right now from what I know so far.
Maybe by the end of the season, I'll look like an idiot. But
I mean, no, that's a pretty strong theory. This is what I like about theories is that any one of these could be right, or we could be 100% wrong about everything we're talking about, and it'll be something completely random. Like Game of Thrones. Daenerys destroys the whole city and goes completely against everything she ever said she was.
I tried to get into Game of Thrones a few times, and I could just never really get into it, you know what I mean? Like, I've tried to watch the first few episodes, and it just wasn't clicking. And I know, like, people say, oh, you have to, like, get to season 2, and then it starts getting good.
That's what I was going to say. It's really hard to watch the first season when, like, you've heard things about it already, because bigger things are going to happen later. And that kind of happened with, like, The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that.
I watched that show, like, religiously up until Jeffrey Dean Morgan played Negan. And we saw, it was crazy intense leading right up until they revealed who he killed. Literally right after that episode, I had zero interest in watching the show anymore.
There was a lot of discourse about Jeffrey Dean Morgan's Negan, like, bashing in. It was Abraham and Glenn. It was just like, this shouldn't be on TV. And it wasn't even like people who were watching The Walking Dead. I watched up until this most recent season ended. With COVID hindering their abilities to, like, edit the final episode, the season finale didn't air for almost a year, if not like a full year. It took so long for them to actually finally edit and just air the episode. A year between the second to last episode and the last episode. It was crazy. Wow. To make up for it, they were going to do like an extended season 10, or they do like a few extra episodes that take place before season 11. And I know, like, oh, Maggie came back because Maggie was missing for a while.
Oh.
I just checked out. That was my breaking point. I'll listen to what happened and be like, oh, so that's how that ended. But I honestly can't see myself going back to the show anymore. It's just been too long. Well, I mean, this will be a good transition into what we watched, which was...
Oh, yeah!
The Army of the Dead.
Yeah, a new movie on Netflix came out. How long ago did that come out? It was pretty recent, right?
I think it was 2 months ago now, if I'm going to be real. It came out May 21st. And so, okay, it's only been about a month.
Okay.
So, what'd you think about it? Because didn't you just watch it this morning?
Yeah, I literally watched it this morning. At first, I was like, oh, this is going to be like one of those like the Zombieland type movies. And then the more and more I kept watching, I was like, okay, so not really, but like kind of, because I'm immature and like...
Yeah, there aren't really a whole lot of like well-knowns here.
So we have Dave Bautista. His love interest, Maria, she was in Nacho Libre. She was...
I don't remember that movie at all.
She was Encarnacion. She's one of the nuns that Nacho falls in love with. We don't really have that many big names in this one, do we?
No, it's really Dave Bautista, and I don't want to say, like, unknowns. They're not, like, household names.
Zombie outbreak in Las Vegas. Most of the characters that we have joining this big old group were there for the beginning of it. They got out. It's Vegas, so there's a lot of money there. Wealthy dude. What was his name?
Tanaka.
Mr. Tanaka. Yeah. Comes in and is like, hey, I want my money. Assemble a group, y'all get a cut of it. So he goes, gets a group going. They get in there with the help of this coyote lady who, like, apparently knows what it's like inside.
Oh, did they say that's what she was? Did they say that she was a coyote?
Yeah.
Oh, is that just the nickname that they gave her since she would go in and out? Because do you know what a coyote is in sense of the Mexico-American border?
Am I Mexican?
Are you?
Yeah, homie.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought you were just like Native American. I didn't know there was also like Mexican in there too.
Oh yeah, it's both. But yeah. So she knows how to like get in and out. So she's the coyote. What was her name? Like Lily or something was her actual name.
I'm surprised you remember. Yeah, her name is Lily. I was surprised you remembered that. I didn't remember her name.
Well, because I watched it this morning.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Beginnings of our twist, we learned that they're not just mindless flesh-eating zombies. We have these alphas, and these alphas are bigger, faster, stronger.
And they fuck.
They fuck.
They fucked. They were gonna have a zombie antichrist baby.
When I first saw the queen, I was like, oh, maybe they should have like some of them like have abilities where like, you know, she has like a really fucking loud, super annoying screech that she can gather a shit ton of zombies to one area. But then we see the main like leader zombie dude, who I'm gonna call Zeus because they're in the zombies' home base is Olympus. Big old Zeus dude. They like touch foreheads, him and the queen. I was like, oh, okay, that's like kind of cute. They like bonded or some shit. And then he like leans down and puts his head by her belly, and then he like cheers. And I was like, this mother bitch is pregnant. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, that was so out of left field. Like,
and it was weird, and I felt like it was like no.
Yeah, it felt just like so like gross and wrong. It was like, oh god, how? Why? Was she pregnant before? How do two dead people fuck and then have a kid?
All these questions just start flooding into my mind.
It's like, what is this zombie virus that they're all infected with?
We see the beginning scene with them leaving Area 51 with a container that has the original zombie in it. And then they escape and they're right by Vegas, and then shit goes down. But still, that's weird. Zombie babies, and it had that weird glowy blue shit, like it was like electric, and then other zombies started having it, and I was like, have they had multiple children?
I didn't notice the others. The only ones I noticed that had that kind of like glowing blue effect was the alpha, the Zeus zombie, and the baby. But I was watching mine on my TV that's behind me from my bed. So did you watch on your computer?
No, I watched on my TV as well.
Oh well, your TV is a lot bigger than mine, so you would have seen more of the image than I would have. I thought it was really interesting because it started with kind of a montage of different soldiers during the initial zombie outbreak. I thought it was really cool how they had that one woman character. We just like kind of like see her life. She was saving other people, and she was seeing people get bitten, but they were just still alive humans, and she ended up having to shoot them, and like she was really having a lot of like trauma and depression going through that. And it eventually got to a point where she was trapped and the cargo boxes fell right on top of her. And I thought that was such an interesting and powerful way to like show how much it's just gotten so fucked up and how much it's destroyed people's lives. We also like get some interesting flashbacks with Dave Bautista, which, have you seen Blade Runner 2049?
I have not.
He is a really good actor when he wants to be. I think he's dissed on the Fast and Furious franchise because they said that those actors aren't real serious actors while he is. I think it was like making fun of Vin Diesel, saying that you're not a real serious actor on Twitter like a year ago.
Oh.
But Dave Bautista, because he started as a wrestler like Dwayne Johnson, and he's really like proved himself.
He can stand so perfectly still that he just like becomes invisible.
Yeah, it's crazy how he can do that.
Crazy. And no other actor I've ever seen can do that.
He really morphs so well into the character that he's the background of the movie itself. Then all of a sudden, he starts speaking. You're like, oh my god, I didn't even know he was there. Speaking of which, Zack Snyder has such interesting cues that like when you watch his stuff, you already could tell that you're watching Zack Snyder. You know, you get the big booby badass ladies with the big gun.
Yeah.
He did that with Watchmen with the what was her name? Silk Spectre. I haven't watched that movie in a while. He also had Sucker Punch. Have you ever seen Sucker Punch?
Oh my god, that was forever ago.
It's such a weird movie.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, he's got a thing for big badass booby women, which is why he cast Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you got these big badass booby women with guns. They're just like feminism to the extreme, but we're gonna show off our butts and tits while we do it. I only noticed it here and with the Snyder cut with Jared Leto's Joker, with that scene where he would go from like completely out of focus and then rack into focus so quickly that you finally see the character. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
After seeing it here, I kind of feel like it's worn off a little bit.
My thing with him has been the music lately. Because with Snyder Cut, we got Wonder Woman and that like otherworldly
you
chanting.
always hear them screaming.
And like the first few times I was like, oh, that's like really fitting for this battle scene with Wonder Woman. Like that makes her look so badass. And then like 2 or 3 times later, I was like, is he fucking like using the same track over and over again? Like, what is he doing? And like there wasn't any of that in this one, but I felt like there were certain scenes where certain songs are being used that I just felt like didn't fit.
I was seeing memes where it's just like the Army of the Dead is Zack Snyder's Suicide Squad. Oh, get it? He's a DC director, so this is a DC thing. But when I was watching it, I noticed all of them die. So it really did turn out just to be a Suicide Squad movie.
And that kind of pissed me off. Like at the beginning of the movie, I was like, you know what, we're maybe gonna lose like 1 or 2 people, and it's gonna be like the annoying assholes. And then we get to the end where Dave, him and Maria, they like go back and forth. They're like, oh, you know what, like yeah, we do still love each other, and maybe this could work out. And then.
Elevator opens.
And then it was one of the alpha zombies comes in and just snaps her neck, and I was like,
not just snaps it, he owls that bitch. He just turns it 180.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be like a really cool, like the zombie grabs onto her, and then he's gonna shoot and save her, and they'll be like, oh, I love you, and then they escape together. And that shit happens, and I was like,
it just gutted me for a few seconds. I was like, oh, the pain.
It did make me laugh when her spine like popped out of her neck.
Zach is just so weird because you'll have cases of when sexism or racism are going on. Whoever's like being the sexist or racist ends up like getting killed or something. And so it was really,
he likes to prove that like women can be badass and that they can be, the ones that do all the hard shit in the movies. I like seeing like in Aliens, like Sigourney Weaver. That was awesome. I loved that movie.
What Alien and Aliens did with Sigourney Weaver was the difference though with that is that they didn't like have Sigourney Weaver's boobs and like popping out of her shirt and her butt popping out of her pants every time the camera's on them, In my mind, I almost like want to like create a fan art poster, but it's just Dave Bautista who is like Mr. Potato Head. There's this big oval of muscle, and he's like, I'm here to give my daughter money. And then there's like his daughter, and then there's Lily, the blonde lady, and their boobs are just like popping right up and almost like blocking their faces, and they're like, and we're here to kill zombies.
He wants to make sure that's a woman.
It's like he wants you to know that he likes hot ladies, but he also wants you to know that hot ladies deserve respect. And so every single time,
that's it right there.
Every time it was that cop or that guard from the camp, and she immediately like shoots him in the leg and gives him over to the alphas. And then there was the guy who was only there for the queen's head because Mr. Tanaka didn't want the money at all. He just used it as an alibi to get some zombie blood. He ends up just getting completely.
That's what that was.
What?
That's what that was. He didn't even want the money at all. I didn't even catch that.
Oh yeah. He said that the money was only like a distraction. They would go along with it for the money, then they would just go in there for the zombie head,
Yeah. And I mean, I got real annoyed at the end because they were like, oh, do it before the bomb drops. And then that one guy was in the safe, and then he came out afterward. I was like, wait a damn minute. He just comes out after the destruction with the money and gets out. And I was like, so they didn't need to go in before it dropped, and they could have been there after the zombies. And then the whole,
well, we don't know what the condition of it was after that. Yeah, was there like a hatch that he opened and climbed out of?
Yeah, climbs right out with all the money.
The fucking tiger, the zombie tiger. He goes on that guy who had the head, or who was planning on having the head, and just completely fucks his shit up.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
He's like slamming him 10 feet away into cars and cement pillars, and rips his face just clean off.
Mm-hmm.
even though like I was cringing and like kind of shying away from looking at when it got really gory, that I enjoyed watching. So I was like, yeah, man, you were a piece of shit, and I'm happy you're dead.
I did that more so with the guard dude at the beginning because I kept seeing her like look at him, and then like when she started talking to him, I was like, oh shit, she's gonna fuck him up because he's an asshole. And then she shot him and tied him up and was like, oh, we're gonna make an offering. And I was like, what the fuck are you making an offering to? And I liked that it was the queen who came up and decided his fate. She checked him to see if he was going to be good enough to take back. That's what I was like, oh yeah, like he deserves it. And I mean, I thought bad about the other dude and the tiger.
I didn't. I didn't. He deserved it. He left them for dead, dude. You got what he deserved.
Yeah, I liked seeing that that's what he, and I liked the tiger like played with him too. And it was totally like real like characteristics of the cat, like messing around with him when you knew he had him and stuff. It was good.
I think the moment I turned off my brain completely was in the opening scene where the wife was blowing him, the guy in the dude driving in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like this is stupid Zack Snyder zombie movie. I'm turning my brain off 5 minutes into it. And then the Roadhead is what started the zombie apocalypse.
Oh my god.
Roadhead started the apocalypse.
Change my mind.
It has like a 60-something% Rotten Tomatoes, which I 100% agree with, and I also 100% disagree with, because that movie deserves a 100% for stupid.
100%. Oh my god. I love Zack Snyder, but also like, what the hell were you on when you wrote this?
Movies are at their best when they're just off the wall fucking nuts without being bad. Like that's what I thought about with the most recent The Conjuring the Devil Made Me Do It.
Mm-hmm.
We are completely throwing the real life aspect of this story out the window. We're just gonna do some fuck shit, and I want to say maybe 5% of that movie was actually based on real events.
And that's what bothered me so much about it, and that's why this one didn't scare me. I was expecting to be totally scared because I was scared of the other Conjuring movies. I was scared of Annabelle. And then this one comes out and I was like, this just feels like every other demon movie that's ever come out. Like it didn't feel real. It didn't feel like this was something that Ed and Lorraine actually went through.
Did you ever like get into Ghost Adventures? With like Zach Bagans on the Travel Channel? I got really, really into it when I was younger. Every so often, like I would have this like month or so where I would like binge a whole bunch of episodes. I would watch it. It's all reality TV, and all reality TV is trash. It's just like fun to watch, you know? So I would watch the Ghost Adventures a whole lot. But about a year ago or so, I was watching an episode where Zach Bagans opened up this haunted museum in Vegas. To promote it, they did a bunch of episodes there. It was just like investigating in my haunted museum. They basically did like a large scale Warren museum where there's like a bunch of haunted artifacts. To help promote it, we brought in Annabelle for a guest appearance, and they had like the Warren's daughter's husband come in like with a briefcase handcuffed to himself. They opened it and they're like, yeah, so here's the actual Annabelle doll. And they were showing it. And they were like, Zach, don't touch the Annabelle doll. Whatever you do, Zach Bagans, don't touch the Annabelle doll. And then you just like see Zach in this stupid fucking. I think it was all shot in night vision too, which of course it was. It was like here's Zach Bagans like like he's in a trance, and it's just like he's reaching towards the Annabelle doll, and he touches it. He's like, oh no, Zach, now you're cursed with Annabelle. It was so stupid. That's really what ruined both Ghost Adventures and the Warrants for me. It's like, they're such sellouts. So, Rose, you would say you like Star Wars, right? Just a little bit? Just a little bit. So you're a little familiar with how fans act online, right? Just a little bit unreasonable and loud and obnoxious and hurtful and racist and yet overly sensitive to everything. Just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like getting offended that there's a woman in the movie, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lego just announced that they are they just showed off their new Mandalorian Season 2 Lego sets. They have the ship listed as Boba Fett's spaceship or Starship, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody is getting up in arms saying that, like, oh, woke Lego Disney Star Wars, they're forgetting they don't want the word slave in it because it's racist. But like, we look at other Lego sets, such as like General Grievous's ship. It's just listed as General Grievous's fighter, you know? It's just like they use the simple terms that people know. So it's like when your fucking 5-year-old kid says, I want Boba Fett's ship, you just know, you automatically know what that is, you know? You don't have to like go searching. It's just like, okay, well, what's Boba Fett's ship called? It's called Slave One. So let me try to find Lego Slave. No, it's just called Lego Boba Fett's ship. It's not a new woke marketing thing. But since like, I think someone at Lego said that like Disney wants us to move away from that term from now on. And yet people are like saying like they're erasing Star Wars canon and they don't want people to know about Star Wars because it's something stupid like that. So I'm seeing all this discourse, and this led me to because I like to dick around with the podcast Twitter. So I was on the podcast Twitter scrolling through, and the actor who put on the Boba Fett costume so that he could be inserted into the special edition, like when Jabba is in front of the Millennium Falcon and stuff.
Yeah.
The actor who played that is going on Twitter being like, hey, Disney, if you don't like Star Wars, then don't buy it. And then like laughing, like cry laugh emoji, exclamation point, 100% what makes Star Wars fandom toxic. And so he's like saying like, oh, Disney hates Star Wars. And I wrote back saying, yes, Disney hates Star Wars, which is why they made 5 movies, 4 animated shows, because you got the Clone Wars Season 7, Star Wars Resistance, Rebels. Yeah, there are 4. There were 4 animated shows, weren't there? Oh, the Bad Batch. Duh. Wow, we're both idiots. Okay, so yeah, Clone Wars, Bad Batch, Rebels, and Resistance. 4 shows, 5 movies, 5 other live action shows coming that are confirmed. And actually, we're getting another animated series with Visions. So 5 movies, 5 animated shows, 6 live action shows, including The Mandalorian. And so I responded to that stupid actor. And now I'm just like getting so many fucking replies to it. And it's like, well, they don't like Star Wars because they just want money. And I'm just like, where? Okay, yes, they like money. No shit. Everyone likes money. That's why they bought Star Wars in the first place. They bought Star Wars to get more money. No one's arguing that they want money, but like, what do you mean they don't care? Like, they got a lot of quality stuff out there that a lot of people like.
And I think the reason why we're getting these shows like Kenobi and Boba and stuff like that is because of how badly they messed up the sequels with not having a plan.
Well, the plan, I don't really take the plan criticism that, because both of the sequels, both the trilogies that Lucas did, they weren't planned. Lucas likes to say that he had this grand scheme of, you know, farmer boy like goes off to save a princess, and then he finds out the bad guy is his dad, and then he saves his dad, and they blow up the Death Star. That wasn't, he didn't have the whole trilogy planned out. He just didn't. And there's a lot of evidence for that, including, you know, Luke and Leia being brothers. You know, they wouldn't have had that so much like, will they, won't they romance going on between them if Lucas always knew that they would be brother and sister. That stuff like that wasn't planned out. It didn't start off right, I don't think. Like, it's such a complicated thing.
It's not so much that it was a plan, but it was more like, because we had, what was it? Was it directors or producers? It was directors that moved, wasn't it? We had different people.
Well, it was different directors, because at first it started with JJ, but the problem with what JJ, like The Force Awakens, like a lot of people like it. I like to watch it, but what the issue with it is, it really is just like a retelling of A New Hope. You got the droids sent to the sand planet to get away from the space Nazis, and the lonely person out in the middle of the desert finds it. Someone else comes looking for it. They get on the Millennium Falcon that's in the middle of the desert. They fly. Han Solo takes them to a bar, and they talk in a bar. It's just like there's a lot of main things. The giant planet killer machine.
Yeah.
And then they go and blow up the giant planet killer machine. It's just like, it's too many things that were George Lucas reused similar concepts with the prequel trilogy with between Phantom Menace and A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
But for JJ, he just did too much, and then he left off on the his whole mystery box thing, which his whole mystery box thing is just literally Anakin's lightsaber in the box. It's like, how did it get there? Well, we'll find that out later. That's how he sets up all of his movies, and then every project he sets up that way never goes well.
Yeah.
That's what happened with the Cloverfield movies, and that's what happened with Lost. And so he ended it with Rey holding out the lightsaber, and that kind of like left that kind of left Ryan in a spot where it's just like, this is what I'm left with? Okay, might as well tell, an original story. And then he tells an original story, and then everyone gets upset. Well, people didn't like not knowing where the story was going to go, so here, you already know this story. I'm just going to tell it to you again with, here's the Emperor, and the Emperor's got new planet killers, and so we're going to blow him up. We're going to blow up the Emperor again.
I never thought of it that broadly. It's like, the whole people didn't want new, so we went back to the old stuff and literally just redid it and brought back the same character who should be very, 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 very dead by this point.
That's the problem with JJ, and JJ is good at he did other things before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Anyways, that was 7 years ago, and I was in charge of Star Wars, so it doesn't concern me.
I feel like that'd be a really big burden, though, because with the Star Wars fandom, you are never going to please anyone. There's always going to be someone that is completely pissed off and even us talking now, this blows up, this gets big. There's going to be someone that's like, well, your theory is dumb, and blah, 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 and they're going to say how it's not canon for this to be whatever, and
that's why I'm getting like a lot of replies on Twitter. 30-year-old people complaining about stuff that was written for 12-year-olds. Dude, go touch some grass.
Go touch the grass right now.
Yo. Okay, so one of the big repliers who kept coming at me kept saying, oh, well, Disney Star Wars was a failure. You see these box office, and it was like all of them over $1 billion. I was like, what's your point? How are these failures? They're all over $1 billion. It's just like, yeah, but they kept going down. And so I showed him the original Star Wars trilogy box office with A New Hope had $700 million. The Empire Strikes Back had $500 million. And Return of the Jedi had $400 million. It was like, this is a normal trend to see about trilogies with it going down. Like, that's normal.
Yeah.
And it was like, yo, you don't know what you're talking about, because you're not talking about inflation, and you're not talking about their budgets. And also, like, if we're going to talk about inflation, then no movie will ever have made more money than whatever came before it. Because Gone with the Wind, I think, made box office, it made just under $200 million for that time. Or worldwide, almost 400. Adjusted for inflation today, nothing would ever come close,
Yeah, like that's, yeah.
Nothing will ever come close to touching what Gone with the Wind made at that time, adjusted for inflation. Inflation just, like a funhouse mirror warps things.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about budgets, and the budget for The Rise of Skywalker had $270 million, and the box office was $1 billion. And so I was like, okay, so 270, double that, you get $550 million. That still leaves them with like a $450 million profit.
Yep.
Where are these problems you're having with it? And I was checking back trying to see if they made a reply, and apparently that count has now been suspended.
What?
This tweet is from a suspended account. Holy shit, they got their own account banned.
Wow. That's funny.
Dude just couldn't fucking let go that the sequel trilogy wasn't a complete failure. He just couldn't let it go that it was fine. But yeah, I got really hyped up when all this is going on today. I was like, oh boy, people are coming after me because I said something positive. But yeah, and the Boba Fett actor, his name is Mark Anthony Austin. And he is just going on a tirade of tweets being like, Disney ruined Star Wars, and you know the Texas flag where it's just like, come and take it?
Yeah.
That's basically what he's posting. It's like the Slave One, come and take it. Like,
oh my god.
Dude, you can still say the Slave One. They just changed it for marketing reasons. It's not as big as a deal as everyone's making it be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we got all the big things. We did the Theory Trade Federation, which we're probably going to end up changing that name eventually, because even though I came up with that name, I don't even like it that much.
It's all right for now. But what we didn't do is let people know that they can comment their own theories if there's a theory that they can think of for whatever it is we're talking about, or even if it's movies that are coming out.
Yeah, if anyone really like actually watches this far, if you want to tweet at us with your theories and questions as to what you think is going to come up, or you can email it to the email which will be down in the description of this video. Do it, and we will read them here, and then we will see.
We'll read them. We'll say what we think we like about it, what we think may happen, and we'll put it up here as a theory that we could get points for. Or if you think ours is wrong and you want to give your points why, please tell us. Get over here. Are you supposed to work at the neighbors?
And with that, I think that's a good place to leave off.
Coming soon to a theater near you.